Good morning, Brigadier.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Ms. Bowe.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners.
We are in your hands, Ms. Bowe. Oh, tshwarelo hle, Olo. Good morning, Ms. Sherizi and Ms. Pratema. Good morning.
Chair, yesterday we left off at page 26, so we will continue with the WhatsApp chat.
26.
Yes, page 26 of the WhatsApp chat. And maybe just to direct you also to paragraph 30 of the statement. Paragraph 30 is on page 8 of the statement.
Paragraph. Statement.
Page 8 of the statement at paragraph 30 and page 26 of the WhatsApps. Brigadier, are you at those 2 pages? Okay.
Again, I do realize you have files, so you probably don't have much space to pull the mic closer to you, but it's either you find a way of pulling the mic closer or speaking a bit more.
I will do so, Chair.
Yes.
My apologies. Brigadier, good morning. We are dealing with the chats, and this particular chat is on the 20th of February 2025 at 11:23. You will see there that first, before we deal with 11:23, no, actually it does start at 11:23. You send what appears to be a list of 140 individuals to Mr. Matlala. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see it.
Thereafter, you send a message at 11:24 saying, "Morning, Mr. V, list of no-shows." In response, he says, "Thank you," and the no-show code. You then respond and say, "I will check with Mgadi," or your office can send her email requesting code for non-arrival fee. He responds and says, "Okay, let me know if you're winning. If not, we'll send her an email." So that's the interaction. You explain this interaction at paragraph 30 of your statement and indicate that it's as a result of an earlier conversation you've had with him where he mentioned a list of 300 non-arrivals and you were correcting him to say that it was actually 140 because there were 2 subsequent dates. Is that the case?
That's correct.
All right. So now when you look at the explanations after, so the text after you send the tables, what it looks like is that you send this list, he asks you for a code in order to claim for non-arrivals, and then you say to him that you will check on your side, and if not, they will email. So it doesn't necessarily accord with what you see in the text. It looks like it was something that was initiated by you to assist Mr. Matlala. Do you care to comment?
Yes. As explained on the WhatsApp, on my affidavit, I received a call from him on the 19th? I received a call from him, and he indicated that they wanted to claim for the non-arrival, and the number of non-arrival will be 300. Maybe let me give a background. In total, we had 553 authorizations for medical surveillance, and those, the medical surveillance was supposed to be conducted on the 19th of August to the 23rd of August. From the 553 that we had, only 206 attended. Now it gives us a balance of the people that did not attend the medical surveillance. Then furthermore, we arranged another meeting, we arranged another appointment. According to him, he thought it was 337 because they are also sitting with the list. We also have our own list. So he needed to compare the two lists on the outstanding medical surveillance. Normally, you will also have your refusals, people that are refusing to do their medicals, which they will also be included on the non-arrival. If we book an appointment, members do not arrive for the appointment because the service provider was already there. He can then claim for the non-arrival fee. But because previously I received an email coming from Colonel Mogadi who indicated that the environment that I was managing with the previous service provider, they had about, I think it was more than $1 million of a fruitless expenditure on the non-arrivals. In order for me to avoid that fruitless expenditure, I spoke to him. We arranged another date. In actual fact, arranging another date, I was prejudicing him because already he was there. Now I'm calling him for the second time for the same people to come and facilitate the appointment. My main concern was to avoid the fruitless expenditure so that it doesn't appear again that even on this service provider, we are paying for the non-arrival, which are amounting to the fruitless expenditure. Then we arrange another date on the 26th to the 27th of August, whereby our outstanding from the previous one, it was 337. And from 337, those that attended, it was 105, which is now dropping the number of 337 to 215. Then the last one, you see, I was pushing him. I was pushing him to the advantage of the organization. Otherwise, I was just going to leave it and for him to claim for the 337. But I wanted to reduce the wasteful expenditure so that it can be less with Medicare. Then again, we call him on the 30th of September 2024 until the 5th of October 2024, which reduced again the non-arrival to 144. Now, when he's saying to me, we have the non-arrival of 300 and something, now we want to claim, I say, no, you don't have 300 and something. According to their record, which they did not update, it was showing 337. Then I further said, let me check to the following day, the name list, then I will forward it was it the 19 when I received that call? I can't remember clearly now. I said, let me check, then I will forward you the name list of the non-arrival, then you can compare it with your list. We need to take note that whatever documents that we were having, even Mr. Matlala was having, the records that we were having, even if it's limited records, he will have full records of the medical files of the members. I then said to send him a list of 140 members, which he was supposed to confirm with the authorization received, the attendance register, as well as the refusal list. Then he's asking me for a code. I don't know why he was asking me for a code, because it's their code, it's not our code. Then I say, I will check with Colonel Mogadi, or your office can request Colonel Mogadi the non-arrival code. Even when they requested Mogadi, it will be their code because they are the service provider. The code for claiming, it comes from them.
Brigadier, maybe let's start it at the beginning. You say that Mr. Matlala calls you on the 19th. You'll see from the records that it is, it's you that calls Mr. Matlala on the 19th at 16:12. Sorry, that's at page 23. You'll see it's the text block just before the first table. Can you see that?
No, I call him, but while I was on the call with him, as per my statement on 2025-02-19, while I was on a call with him.
Brigadier, you...
Apologies.
Okay, wait, are you just rectifying to say that it was you who initiated the call?
Yes.
And during that call, he then raises this issue?
Yes.
Now, why does he tell you that he's going to claim for the 300 non-arrivals? As opposed to a service provider does the work, they send through their invoice or whatever authorizations they need to send to whoever. Why does he tell you that he's about to do this?
For him, it was going to be for the very first time that he claimed for the non-arrival. I was informed that every service provider regarding the health risk management, when it's their first year, they normally struggle to adjust in the environment. So some of the things, they don't get it right. Some of the things, we also need to be advising them and supporting them in the process. Because if we are not supporting them, otherwise, even from our side, we will be failing. But in this instance, what I did by sending him the list, I'm actually saving the organization. Otherwise, he could have claimed for more than 300.
Brigadier, surely if he had claimed for more than 300, the organization would have run their papers against his to check if that number was correct, particularly when you say that at that point you had checked the non-arrivals and it was an ongoing problem. So if you got a bill for 300 non-arrivals, surely somebody in the relevant department would have checked that.
I wish you can understand the process, how it works. When they submit their claim, they will send, maybe if members attended the medical surveillance, they will send the certificate of fitness that we spoke about yesterday, the COF. Now, when they were to submit the non-arrival, now you don't have a COF. And you'll find the doctors are still busy with the completing the COFs. Then they will send a name list of non-arrival. But in this instance, he didn't even claim for the non-arrival of this 140. It cannot be...
No, Brigadier, let's not go to whether or not he claimed. Let's deal with the process. You are saying that, it seems that you're suggesting that there would have been no way for the organization to check whether or not his list would correspond with the organization's list?
They will.
They will.
They
So
will.
if they will, at that point, there was no need for you to save the organization, as it were, because this would have come out in the regular process of checking their work against your records.
If you say so, but according to me, I was saving the organization. You don't know if maybe we have some administration flows that will end up advantaging Mr. Matlala when he's claiming. So for me, what I did to save the organization.
Let's then test the idea that it was okay for him to approach you. You say that, because it was his first time, he needed some guidance. Would you be the right person to do this? As I understood, your evidence is things like invoicing, and that wouldn't come to your environment. Moreover, it's the ECOs who have direct contact with his people. And also from your chat, it's clear that even when he requests a code, you would have to check with somebody else. So it doesn't seem like you would have been in any event the right person to ask this or to guide him in this process.
No, I am. Remember, it was not an invoice. It was just comparison of the name list. I am the right person, and I'm well within my responsibility to exchange the name list with this service provider.
But Brigadier, it goes more than the name list. He's even asking you for the no-show code. So that's directed at getting, and as you say, you can send her an email requesting code for non-arrival fee. So that goes to beyond just the list. It was about for a process for him to claim.
I cannot dictate. I cannot dictate what he writes to me, but my response, I have advised him to say that we can check with Colonel Mogadi, or you can send an email and request a code.
No, Brigadier, you say I will check with
Yes.
General Mongadi.
Yes.
Or your office can send an email requesting the code. So it's you who's playing that role. And in
Yes.
fact, in response, he says, okay, let me know if you are winning. So you're essentially part of this process.
Yes.
And you still maintain that it was your job to do
It's
so.
part of me supporting the service provider.
Okay, thank you, Brigadier.
Thank you.
Perhaps, Brigadier, maybe let's understand what in fact is the role and functions of the environmental compliance officers. What role do they play?
The environmental compliance officer will also play a similar role. They will obtain authorizations. They will schedule appointments with the service provider. Then they will keep the name list of attendance, including the refusals and the no-show.
Yes.
Normally, when you have your no-shows, we don't reschedule another
Yeah,
appointment.
no, don't explain that. So you're saying you basically did that which environmental compliance officers do with this exchange with Mr. Matlala. You've just said it's what environmental officers would do. You did it anyway.
You know, Commissioner, sometimes I find it difficult to respond because I want to respond and explain how it happened. What is the role of the ECOs? And where do I come in? Why was I involved in this matter? Now, the first appointment, when it's done, and you have 300 and, for the example that I just gave, you have 337 non-arrivals. Then the service provider must claim for the non-arrivals. But myself, being there, now I'm pushing for an additional appointment. And I pushed him 3 times for the additional appointment. Why I did that? Because I received an email. Remember, I was still new in the environment. I then received an email coming from Colonel Mogadi. And the email is saying, "Good day, General. I hope you are well." That was the email on the 10th of September. "I have a challenge with CR and CSM. For the past years, meaning with the previous service providers, I've been getting a lot of missed appointments from this environment and it's costing the state a lot of money. Currently, I have 20 members that refuse on the day when the nurses are there. I am going to be charged by the service provider for having nurses come and do nothing for that day." The email was sent to myself and General Manamela. As a brigadier, I need to intervene now to minimize the fruitless expenditure. That's when I intervene. And maybe I use my relationship to the advantage of SAPS. If I use it to the advantage of SAPS, then I'm disadvantaging the service provider because his first claim was supposed to be on 337. Then I further push him for a second appointment. Then I push him for the third appointment until that number drastically reduced.
See, the problem with explaining is you end up saying things that don't answer my question. That's why I stop you.
Okay.
You obviously have your reasons why you want to give an explanation. My question is simply this. You are sharing with Mr. Matlala a list of members. You then say to him that you tell him, this is the list of no-shows. That's what you tell him.
That's correct.
And then you offer to get him the no-show code for a non-arrival fee, or you say he can request it after you've checked. My question is, you are doing all of this. What is the function? What are the functions of an ECO if you are doing this? You're engaging, you're giving him a list of no-shows, you're offering to find him the code for the non-arrival fee. You're doing all of that, and I simply want to know, if you're doing all of this, isn't this the work or the job or the responsibility of ECOs? And you had already answered that they do this. And all I was putting to you, or what I wanted to put to you is, so you basically were doing that which ECOs do in these pages. It's part of the functions of the ECOs to do the audit and say to him, these people, these are the only no-shows we have, not your 300, but the 140. That's something that ECOs would do. That's all I wanted to verify with you.
The ECOs will have stopped their responsibility on the non-arrival of 337. They will have stopped there.
What does it mean? What do you mean? I don't understand.
When appointments are being made,
Yes.
and members did not arrive for the appointment, then the ECO will stop, will not initiate an additional appointment.
Yes.
But because of this email,
No, forget the email. Just forget the email for purposes of my discussion with you. I really am not interested in that email. These ECOs would book for 390 people,
they'll
right?
book for 553.
Yes, and then only a certain number
Will come.
arrive. Mr. Matlala, in terms of his contract, is entitled to charge a non-arrival fee for those people.
Yes.
What Ms. Powe was putting to you was, but surely the SAPS system would have picked that up. You didn't have to get involved with it at this point because you're not the contract manager. So if he claims for everybody including, if he claimed for everyone, right? As if they presented, as if they arrived, you did not have to be the one that says, no, you're only entitled to 140, because the subsystem would have responded to him, would have picked it up and said to him, you're only entitled to claim for 140. That's what Ms. Boyer was putting to you, and I haven't heard your answer to that question. Are you agreeing with Ms. Boyer that the subsystem, those who are responsible for management of this contract, not you, somebody else is responsible to manage the contract. You made a point of telling us yesterday that you're not responsible to manage this contract. Do you agree when Ms. Boyer proposes to you or suggests to you that the subsystem in finance or another section would have picked up that Mr. Matlala is not entitled to claim for 300 or whatever number, but he's only entitled to claim for these 140? Are you prepared to accept that? Or you say, no, if you did not intervene, the SAPS doesn't have a system or a way of picking up that he's not entitled to claim the 300, but only the 140?
I will not say the SAPS doesn't have a system. They do have a system, but sometimes you will have the administration flows. There will be some administration errors on the system. The process of claiming for the non-arrival is much quicker than when you submit a claim of with a COF. Because with a COF, the doctor must still wait for the blood result or the urine result. Then they must complete the COF. It must be signed by an OCL. But with the non-arrival, it's just a name list. So this one can be submitted while that other process is still taking place with the doctors. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
So when you gave him this list, can I just check what you're saying? When you gave him this list, it would have helped him to put in a claim and to get paid sooner than if he had followed the normal process of submitting his claim to the finance, and then they have to wait for other records that you are describing before he gets paid out.
No, it will not have. It will not have. I'm just explaining the process of SAPS where it might be having some flows on it. But it will not have, because these medicals were conducted in September.
Then explain, maybe just re-explain what you're saying. Here's what I understand you to say from the last thing you said was, the process of claiming is longer because it goes to the CFO, it goes to finance, right? Which I expect that's what happens. It doesn't come to you. It goes to finance, where they require him to submit certain documents. They do their own checks before he gets paid, right? Before payments are processed and approved. I understood you to explain that. That's a normal process. But if he gets a list like this from you, all he needs is a code for the non-arrival fee, and then he submits, and then he gets payment quicker than following that long normal process that is regulated by the contract. I've understood you to say that.
No, Commissioner. No, not like that.
Explain it again.
For him, he's already having a list.
From you?
No, from his side.
No, we're talking about this list. I'm asking you specifically about the consequence.
He cannot use
Let me explain myself so that you understand my question. You gave Mr. Matlala this list, right? This is confirmation from you, from your area, that these people did not arrive. You say you get the code for him, or you say to him, I'll get you the code for the non-arrival fee. So now he's got the information that he needs. He's got a list of people that you have accepted didn't appear. He will submit that, this list and the code. He gets paid on that basis. The alternative to this, if you did not give him this list, you would have had to follow the normal contract process. If you hadn't given him this list, he would follow the process of preparing his own list, submitting it to finance with whatever documents the contract says he must submit, right? And the finance people would then require whatever documents you've told us. There will be doctors signing this and that must accompany his claim for payment. That's a longer process. And that's what you said earlier. That process is long. And so his payment would have been delayed. What I'm proposing to you, or what I'm suggesting to you, is when you gave him this list, you were actually helping him to get payment sooner than the normal process that is prescribed by the contract and SAPS internal processes would have taken for him to get payment. That's what you did with this. You were helping him.
No, Commissioner, it's not like that. I don't even know how to explain it further. A low number. If we arrange medical for 20 people, then 10 people arrive for the medical surveillance, and the other 10 doesn't arrive for the appointment. Now, this other 10 will be charged for the non-arrival because the doctors were there. Now, the other 10, when they do their medicals, because they were there for the appointment, now they must be sent to the pathologist. Sending them to the pathologist for the blood test and for the whatever, when it comes back with the result. Now the org health must complete a COF. I'm not talking about the 10 that did not arrive. Then we'll complete the medical report, include it in their file, and compile what we call a COF. Then they can submit the COF, and the COF, once it has been received, the supply chain management will certify the payment because they receive the COF. But with the non-arrival, they can just take the list, their own list, not Matjeng's list. They take their list. They must also, I don't know, they attach the authorization, then they submit to supply chain. It's not the same process.
Okay. Why did you not let him do that here with his non-arrivals? Why didn't you just let Mr. Matlala compile his own list in his office? Because he's got the list. So
Yes.
why didn't you just let it be? Let him do what every other supplier who has no relationship with you does, which is they take their list, they attach the appointment, I think you say it's an appointment letter, approvals, and then submit it to finance. Why didn't you just leave it at that?
His list is wrong because he has more numbers on the list than he's supposed to have.
But finance would have picked it up and would have come to you if necessary to say, this is what he's claiming, is this correct? The question I'm asking you is, why was it necessary for you to intervene here when it's not your function to verify these submissions? It's a finance function. Your ECOs have this information. Why didn't you just leave it to run its normal course as contracted with Mr. Matlala, as SAPS, not you, as SAPS contracted with Mr. Matlala, claims will be processed? Why didn't you not leave it?
I could not leave it, Commissioner, because for me, I saw he wanted to claim more for the non-arrivals, And at the end of the day, we will be sitting again with the problem of fruitless expenditure.
No, you wouldn't.
Just
no, you
like
wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, because finance would pick it up. It's not your job to do the audits. You've told us that. You've told us your responsibilities. It's not your job to do this. ECOs are responsible for putting up these appointments. Finance is responsible for processing claims for payment. It's not in your job description. Yesterday you said, I have nothing to do with claims. So you would not have had a fruitless and wasteful expenditure because your finance people and your ECOs would have dealt with it as required in accordance with the contract. You inserted yourself into something that has nothing to do with your responsibilities, and I'm suggesting to you that your involvement in this way was because it is Mr. Matlala, and you were assisting him. That's what I'm putting to you. You were deliberately assisting him because of your relationship with him. You can comment if you want to.
my comment, Commissioner, I do not agree with your suggestion because I could have assisted any other service provider the same way that I was assisting Mr. Matlala. And even in my office, they know that I'm a hands-on person. Every week I'll call them to say that, come and present this to me, come and present that. So I was monitoring, and the list that was submitted to him, or the list that I forwarded to him, it can be that it assisted him, but also it advantaged the organization, because the claim will have been more than what he was claiming.
All right. We don't know that the claim would have been more than, because we don't have that information before us. But can I suggest this to you for your comment, that even if all of this was innocent, even if you were not aiming to assist Mr. Matlala, do you see what it looks like, though? Even if with the benefit of hindsight, do you see the appearances of it? That you have a relationship with this service provider, as you described it yesterday, according to you. You have an intimate relationship with him, and here you are doing things that ordinarily, for him, doing things that ordinarily do not fall within your responsibilities, your direct responsibilities. You are assisting him get a code. Yesterday we had other discussions about you calling service providers, and you accepted, your words were, yes, I overstepped. Do you at least see that the appearances of it, or the appearance of it is, you use your position, that's what it looks like. You use your position within the SAPS to assist Mr. Matlala. That's what it looks like, even if that was not your intention. Do you at least accept that the appearances of it are bad?
The appearance might look like that, but Commissioner, I must correct something when you say it is not within my responsibility. It's within my responsibility. It's part of my job description that I also need to manage and coordinate the medical surveillance and biological monitoring. I need to ensure that there's 100% compliance. Although at my level, I'll be managing, I will let him members account. I'll also give direction on what needed to be done.
Exactly my point, ma'am, that you had people whose direct responsibility is this, and they account to you. You told us yesterday your role was to resolve challenges, right? But here we are having you offering to get no arrival codes, no arrival fee codes for Mr. Matlala. That has nothing to do with your job. It's not. It's not your job. So all I'm saying to you is that the appearances of it are not good. And perhaps I should leave it at that, because you have said, even if, yes, you can see, even if that's the appearance, that's not what you were doing. And I'm happy to leave it at that. Thank you, Ms. Bo.
until past, Ms. Paul.
Oh, all right. Thank you, commissioners.
I was still conferring with my co-commissioners about it. Thank you.
Commissioner Kumalo stepped in.
He was too quick to the draw.
Thank you, Chair. Brigadier, just to wrap this interaction up, do you also accept that there were other ways in which you could have protected SAPS interests, including, for example, alerting the ECOs that, Mr. Matlala is proceeding with this process. He's under the impression that there are 300 non-arrivals because of the two others. You just need to make that available so that we are clear. You could also go to finance equally and say, this claim is about to come, this is the number. So there are proactive measures that you could have taken within the organization to ensure that the organization's interests are protected. Do you accept that there were those options, albeit you didn't exercise them?
No, they are not there.
So you're suggesting that knowing that he would have made that claim, that there was nothing you could do but to correct him. There was nothing you could do internally.
Normally, when there are non-arrivals and the non-arrivals are submitted, and I am the coordinator, then I will know Matjeng, Mukwena, and this person did not arrive in the environment.
No, Brigadier, what I'm posing to you is, in the call the day before, correct, you said, during that conversation, Mr. Matlala says, I want to submit the 300 non-arrivals. You, based on your position and everything that's reported to you, know that this is not true because there were two other negotiated dates that would have reduced the number, correct? So in order to stop that from happening, assuming that at that point you thought there may be loopholes and flaws in the system, there are steps that you could have taken internally to avoid a situation where he gets to put in that claim without verification? Or are you saying that even with that knowledge, there was no way you could have said anything to anyone within the organization to check that this issue doesn't arise?
First of all, I'm not involved in the claim. When the claim is submitted, I'm not even aware how many members have been submitted for claiming.
Sorry, Brigadier, I'm talking from a point of you are in this call, you were told this claim is going to be made. So this is not an ordinary course where you don't know anything. In this instance, you say on the 19th you knew that he wanted to put in a claim for 300 non-arrivals. So you had that knowledge. It's not the normal time where you're not involved in the process. Here you clearly are.
What about the claim that went in without being verified or certified by the end user? So for me, I was doing my job. As part of my responsibility is also to prevent the fruitless expenditure. There are claims that are going through without consulting or certification of the end user. As an end user, if there are 20 non-arrivals, I need to certify and confirm. And that's what I was trying to explain, to say, if we have Matjeng, Mabena, Ngosi, that did not go for the medical surveillance, and the service provider is submitting a name list to say, I'm claiming for these 3 people who did not arrive for their appointment, then the confirmation must be done with me as an end user to say, Matjeng, confirm these 3 people before we can do a payment. But currently in our situation, service providers submit a non-arrival. Payment will be made without a certification of the end user.
Brigadier, where do we see that Mr. Matlala sent you a list of people that he was going to claim for? You did discuss that he's going to submit a claim. You've told us that. So you do have discussions with this particular service provider about claims that are going to be submitted. Let's agree on that from your own evidence. Where do we see, because what we have in front of us is you calling him, and you, the next thing that happens from you is you send him a list of people that did not present. Where do we see that, in fact, you were responding to his claim of 300 plus people, whatever number you say he was going to claim for? Where do we see that?
He did not send me a list. He just indicated that they have 300 non-arrivals, which they need to claim for.
So he did not send you a list? Okay. Thank you.
Brigadier, I'm going to move from this point and go to the next set of chats. There are calls that happen on the 24th, 25th, and let's just turn to the 26th of February. That's still on page 30. There's first a video call, a call at 15:35. Thereafter, Mr. Matlala sends you a message at 15:39, just saying signal. And then you respond at 15:55 with, I'm going to do it on my private phone. Then there's a screenshot. Maybe before I go further, can you explain what was happening here?
Yeah, I think maybe you must take it with a screenshot. My WhatsApp was acting up. There was a problem with my WhatsApp. When I was calling or receiving calls, then I'll get this message of waiting for others. Even when I was called people will be saying to me, are you connecting additional people to our WhatsApp conversation? Then I was showing him the proof that my WhatsApp is saying waiting for others. I don't know why it was saying WhatsApp for waiting for others. Then he said you must download Signal.
Well, the WhatsApp that you are discussing now comes after he has said to you Signal.
Yes.
You are talking to Mr. Matlala up to the 26th on the phone at 15:35. And then it's a call from you on the 26th. And then he sends you a message at 15:39. So you called him 15:35, he sends you a message 15:39. He says Signal. What was that all about?
The same explanation, Commissioner. When I was talking to him over the phone, I told him that my WhatsApp, when someone is calling me, is indicating waiting for others. Then he says download Signal. Then he forwarded me the name Signal.
Okay. And why? Why did he want you to? What do you know about Signal? And why did he want you to be on Signal? You could have done a normal voice call. So it's not as if your only option was Signal.
It works better than WhatsApp.
But you also say, I'm going to do it on my private phone.
Yes.
Well, it seems that at this point, you and Mr. Matlala realize that whatever further conversation you're going to have, it has to be a secret conversation that no one can hear. Otherwise, because that's what Signal does. I think I can put that to you. Let's not debate Signal. People go to Signal to get absolute secrecy, as best as that app can do. So he suggests that to you. Let's go to a more private platform. And then you also say, I'm going to do it on my private phone. Yes, that's you saying, I'll do it on my private phone. So you both agree to leave this phone that you are using and the platform. If it was simply a WhatsApp problem, which, I know I do. If I struggle with WhatsApp, I do a normal voice call. you're not choosing that. You seem to both prefer now to move to a more private platform. Why is that?
He says it works the same as WhatsApp.
Brigadier, is the answer not what appears on page 31 at the bottom of the page?
Page?
31. Is
When
the
he
answer
says they are
not that
bugging it.
Mr. Matlala suspected that his phone was bugged? That's
My
why
phone.
he suggested to you that you move to Signal. He did not want you to continue the conversation
Yeah,
on
they-
WhatsApp because he suspected that his phone was bugged.
No, not his phone, my phone. It's my phone because he's saying I'm sending him a picture
Yes.
which indicate that when someone calls me on WhatsApp, it says waiting for others. Now his response is they are bugging it.
Is he referring there to your phone?
Yes, to my phone.
And then, Brigadier, you proceed to say that you're still downloading WhatsApp and Signal on your private phone, network is slow, otherwise we'll call you tomorrow. And that's at page 32 at 1955. You see that? And he responds with okay. Did you end up downloading Signal and having conversations there rather?
Yes, I did.
Thank you, Brigadier. And then you'll see then on the 27th, so the very next day, you continue using this phone, both of you, because he then calls you at 11:26.
Where are you?
The
Which
next
page are you?
Still
You
on
are
page
still on
32.
31?
On page 32. Remember, you say that you then downloaded Signal and then you proceeded to talk on that platform. You see now the very next day you continue on this phone.
Yes.
Did the fears about being bugged or issues with WhatsApp disappear?
What happened, I deleted my WhatsApp. I deleted the whole of WhatsApp and downloaded it again.
So is this to say then you no longer used that Signal platform?
Yes.
You reverted back to
Yes,
this?
because I was struggling to download the Signal on my phone.
Wait, so you didn't download the Signal?
I can't remember if I downloaded it or not, but I was struggling to download it. Hence, we continue.
Here, as a text, like, I mean, a bubble with audio or video call. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you. You were struggling to download Signal, you didn't download Signal. Does that mean that then that was the end of that conversation and nothing else happened? Or is it that you downloaded Signal and had a conversation, but because you rebooted your WhatsApp, there was no longer a need to use it?
I downloaded Signal, but I struggled using Signal.
Okay,
Then I deleted my WhatsApp
yes.
and downloaded a new WhatsApp. Hence, we are continuing using the WhatsApp because I was struggling with the Signal.
So there wasn't a further conversation on the 26th?
On the 26th. No, there was. There it says, I'm still downloading WhatsApp and Signal on my private phone. Network slow, otherwise we'll call you tomorrow. And he says, okay.
Yes, I think we may just be speaking past each other. I take it that you didn't use Signal and there wasn't a
Yes,
separate call.
yes,
The following
yes.
day, you just proceeded to use this phone. That's correct? Okay. Then Brigadier, then let's go to the following day on the 27th. of February 2025 at 11:26. It starts there with a call from Mr. Matlala. You'll see then he responds, you respond. You write to him and say, ballistics EC. Right? I just want to see how long. I'm going to run through the entire conversation on this day and then proceed to ask you about it. He responds with a question mark, right? You then say outstanding biological monitoring. At 12:48 as well, again, you say, I do not have a list because it's not from my environment. He then responds and says, can you send the date when the medical was conducted? And then at 13:12, you say doctor's signature is 28 November 2025. Then you give Mr. Matlala a call. Just to begin with, can you help place or contextualize this conversation? What were you talking about here?
I think he was looking for some sort of a list, or he wanted to do medicals, or he was struggling with medical surveillance in Eastern Cape. And I said, no, it's ballistic Eastern Cape. He wanted the list. I don't have that list. It's not from my environment.
So in this context, it's Mr. Matlala who's asking for some sort of list.
Yes.
And you respond and say, ballistics EC.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand. He's asking for a list. Why is that your response?
I don't know whether he was asking for a list or he's asking for clarity. I'm looking at it, but what I know that it was not from my environment. If I'm responding to him to say ballistic Eastern Cape, that means it's not from my environment. Hence, further, I'm saying is the outstanding biological monitoring. I do not have a list because it's not from my environment.
Okay, so this is not from your environment, and then he proceeds to say, can you send the date when the medical was conducted? And then you provide a date. I am assuming that it's a date by when the medical should be conducted, because you then provide a future date that doctor's signature is 28 November 2025. And this conversation happens in February of 2025.
Even that date doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense only if you say 2025 is an error. Because the previous message says he asks you to send a date when the medical was conducted. So it's a date in the past. So it seems that it would be, you meant 28 November 2024. You agree? You're shaking your head?
Yes.
Okay. So you're nodding, rather. Yes, Ms. Boy.
So in this context, was it, I'm trying to understand why is it that if your recollection is correct that it is Mr. Matlala asking you for a list, why he would be asking you for this list? I'm assuming he would understand or know what environment you service.
I can't remember. That one I can't remember.
And then do you accept that even this kind of interaction, even if...
Perhaps, yeah, if you can hold your thought, and let's resume at 11:45. That's a Jen.